Now, first, I'm going to play a quick clip of the best hits of last night's debate before I go into my breakdown of it. It was really something else. If you didn't watch it, this will give you a good flavor of what it was really quite about.
You can't mention any other candidate on the stage, and you can't mention any other federal leader. If you do, there's going to be trouble, and here's what you're going to hear.
Example, and I'm going to use the name of another party leader now because I think I'm allowed to. But if you look at the way the Prime Minister used vaccine mandates and actually divided Canadians by demonizing one group over another,
you know the rules. You just broke them. We're moving on.
Okay.
And a captain of your own life. Thank you.
All right. Folks, here's the deal. Supporters of any candidate, the time that you cheer is going to be taken away from your candidate. Just so you know, that's the way the deal works here.
When have we ever heard the Prime Minister say, I believe in this project. I think it should happen. And yes, please, I'm delighted to name him if you want me to.
You heard that. And for you is, what book are you reading now? But when you have the opportunity to sit down and listen to some music, what do you listen to?
Well, pick a local hero, Paul Brandt, Alberta Brown. You got to let them applaud that, Tom. Come on.
Thank you, candidates, very much. It was a challenging format, but I think that we did well.
And that was just a handful of high points or low points or whatever you want to call them from last night's debate. I've really never seen anything quite like it. So I'll break it down. I mean, I'm a political weenie. There's no denying that. And over the years, I've watched countless leaders' debates from multiple parties. I've seen some with fireworks and yelling and hollering, and some that are dull enough to put me to sleep even if I drank half a gallon of espresso. I've never witnessed a bizarre debacle like I did last night, though, with the Conservative Party of Canada leadership debate in Edmonton. This is the first debate held, or the first debate that was held with the CPC leadership candidates was an unofficial one. It was held by the Canada Strong and Free Network at their annual conference in Ottawa. Now, that debate was heated and had a lot of vicious confrontational exchanges between the candidates, Pierre Poilievre and Jean Charest. The other candidates had a hard time even gaining notice on the stage as the scraps continued between those two perceived front-runners. Now, pundits and conservative politicians expressed concerns that such vitriolic displays could sour voters on the Conservatives and divide the party. Preston Manning and even ironically Jason Kenney spoke up on the division being fostered with debates and with candidates being so antagonistic with each other. The debate held in Edmonton was the first official one, so all 6 candidates for the leadership were in attendance. I was looking forward to hearing more, what I'd hoped to be more nuanced policy discussion from more than just 2 candidates, and I was to be disappointed, to say the least. Now, to begin with, the audio quality was reminiscent of a high school assemblies I had to attend back in the 1980s. Feedback blasted the audience as the event began, and there was an audible humming sound that was assailing the ears of listeners going forward from that period on. As well, the candidates were set up in front of these large monitors, which perhaps looked good from afar, but it led to a blurred and almost nauseating effect whenever the cameras zoomed in closely to the individual candidates. Once the audio was settled enough to get the event underway, we were treated to an uninterrupted 2-hour awkward moment. That's the best way I could put it. You know, the term cringe that's used almost too much. In this case, it applied very well to last night's debate. And what I can imagine was a response to the somewhat haywire debate in Ottawa. Organizers created a format they felt would prevent candidates from going off the rails in Edmonton. Moderator Tom Clark laid down the law with strict rules. If any candidate mentioned another politician or candidate, they would be interrupted by that sad trombone sound effect that you heard earlier. I thought this was some sort of joke, but quickly within the first round, Jean Charest was interrupted with the trombone because he said Prime Minister. Charest was flustered and annoyed, and who can blame him? It was bizarre. Another rule Clark laid out was that candidates would be penalized if they reduced speaking time if their supporters made any noises such as clapping or cheering. Poilievre ran afoul of this rule repeatedly as his microphone was shut down. Poilievre was also penalized when audience members booed Charest over something he'd said. The moderator just assumed the offenders were Poilievre's supporters. It was just weird. The debate was constantly interrupted as the moderator stopped to scold both candidates and audience members for their misbehavior. Clark was in full school marm mode, and he seemed to relish it. Even without interruptions, it was hard to get anything of substance from the candidates. For the first portion of the event, they were limited to 15-second response times. Even on items like abortion. Can you talk about abortion in 15 seconds? I despise formats where candidates can drone on for minutes with every question, but 15 seconds was just ridiculous. And the event took an even stranger turn. As a series of fluffy questions were presented to candidates in some sort of effort, I guess, to humanize and get to know them, candidates appeared to be taken off guard as they shuffled and came up with answers to such pressing questions as, which TV show have you most recently binged on? Or, who is your hero? I was surprised that the moderator didn't ask them what their favorite color was or how they like their eggs cooked at breakfast. Next, the debate moved on to a game show type of format. Candidates were issued these paddles, and they were instructed that they have to raise them in hopes of being chosen to respond to topics during the debate. And those number of responses had a limit to them. So a number of candidates weren't allowed to respond to segments in the later part because they'd used up their paddle time. It was really weird. Leslyn Lewis was repeatedly mixed up on when or how she would be able to speak, and she can't really be blamed. The moderator didn't seem sure who was still allowed to speak or not either after this weird period of the paddle mode of the debate. I mean, if you want to make it interesting, have them paddle each other, but this stupid raising of it was just weird. The agonizing debate mercifully closed off with short statements from the candidates as they doubtless were eager to flee the stage from this debacle. If the intent of the organizers was to create an event that would appeal to viewers and instill confidence among people in the ability of the Conservative Party of Canada, they failed dismally. They would have been better off not holding a debate at all than having created this strange event. The campaign for the leadership of the CPC is going to be a long one. Members don't vote until September 10th. This is a blessing, as I can only imagine the party wants people to forget the spectacle they created in Edmonton for their English debate.